All right, Kurt. Hey, I want to thank you first for taking the time to meet with me. I want to introduce myself first. I'm Edward Carel, owner of Integrity Custom. We've been in business for 22 years. Something that's been a passion of mine over the years is producing the best homes that we can possibly produce with the best materials we can produce them with. And we've brought in professionals like Kurt, really looking specifically at design. And so our world is changing very fast. And so I'm asking the question, how does COVID-19 impact how we live in our homes? And so to answer that question, I have Kurt Ortley with me. He's a very qualified registered architect, holds a degree in interior as well as interior design, LEED certified, and has been an expert in his field for a number of years. You teach as well. So Kurt, thank you for having this discussion. My hope is that really this is just a lead in where we can get together as just industry professionals and maybe bring in other industry professionals to answer some of the topicality that we'll bring up today about what does not only a healthy home look like, a home that not only allows you a place to sleep and eat and do life, but it helps your body heal and be as strong and as well as it can possibly be. And that's a real important question, kind of with the health challenges we're facing right now.
Yeah, and this has been a passion of mine for a long time. In fact, my undergraduate research was how your habitat could heal, social, mental, physical healing. So this idea of the impact of the environment, of our habitat on our living, has been a passion of mine. It's very critical, I think. Our houses, it's true, our houses have always sheltered us from weather, from the beasts that could potentially eat us, right? And now we recognize that architecture can also protect us from pandemics. It produces barriers, obviously, with the physicality of the walls, but also that there's some additional items, there's some additional considerations. These additional considerations are things like air quality, natural light, materials and finishes, down to specific design implications for zoning, flexibility of design, multi-purpose of use. All of these are going to be impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Right. Well, Kurt, a lot of what you're saying resonates. I've got this odd resume as in addition to having been a builder for the past 22 years. I have a background and a degree in counseling, and one of the areas of specialty that I looked at was autism. And I read a book, and I think the name will come back to me, but I remember reading about how impactful light and a view to green spaces and a connection to the outdoor impacts our not only our mental health, our physical health, but our ability to heal and to function.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, they've done scientific studies that show that a view to a tree or some green environment actually lowers your blood pressure. The other thing is the pituitary gland that sits in our forehead is light sensitive, is actually light activated. And that pituitary gland is responsible for activating the adrenal system. And this is adrenaline, of course. And that's why you see in a lot of hospitals, you're seeing a lot more natural light. Well, these are lessons that should trickle down to the residential environment, especially if you consider the fact that it appears as if we're going to be spending more time in our residential environment. We really can take some of these lessons learned and transfer them over into residential design.
Well, that's super helpful because I think a lot of us are going to, I think a lot of people right now are asking the question of what does my future look like? Whether it's homeschooling or adjunct teaching in a home or home office, working from home, having flexibility. And so home design is critical in that process. Could you give maybe an overview of maybe 4 or 5 or 6 points that maybe we could talk, because if you're willing, what I'd love to do is continue the conversation, maybe not all today, but just outline some topics that we could discuss, just bring in some more information. What are some areas that you feel are kind of touch points of how might we live or adjust our living?
I think that some of the topics should include indoor air quality. They should include natural light, issues around natural light and views. They should include materials, finishes, furnishings, construction process. But we can't forget just simply, we need to also discuss the basis of design. We need to talk about flexibility of design, how a space can be altered. We can talk about finishes in terms of color, how color actually impacts and it triggers chemicals in the brain. So we really need to talk about this environment that in the future we're going to spend so much time encased by. We need to understand the implications. There's been lots of studies and people talking about this in the work environment. But as our homes transition to be work environments, school environments, hospital environments, clinical environments, we really have to take all of those lessons learned and compile them into the one place that we're going to be cohabitating in.
That's great. So Kurt, would you be willing to continue this conversation as we start thinking about those things and spending some time together in this format that we can just create some information or an information place to answer some of those questions?
Absolutely. I think continuing the discussion is critical moving forward, and I would love to be a part of it.
Very good. All right, thanks, Kurt. I will reach out to you and we'll set up a time, but what we'll do is we'll just begin going down a list and asking those questions and putting as much information out as we can. You have many, many years as an architect. I've got years actually building houses and being on the ground, and I'd love to merge those two and create just an information resource. There we go. Okay. All right. I think we can close.